Assigned seating has been becoming more and more of a problem at theme parks across the world. Now, I should clarify one thing before we really get into the video, and that's that assigned seating can be done right. When there's not a grouper in the station can get very chaotic and confusing. When there is a grouper in the station, they will do what's called assigned seating. For example, they'll say, you go to row 8, you go to row 9, etc., etc. Now, most people waiting in line don't know what row they want to go to, so they usually just go to whatever row they're assigned to. Now, if you request to wait extra for a specific row, such as the front or the back, a good grouper would accept the request and let you wait off to the side for the next train or two. But a bad grouper would firmly say no, and that negatively impacts the guest experience, and that is what I'm here to talk about today. So just a few days ago, I got back from a big Spain trip where I went to 5 theme parks in Spain. And of course, all the theme parks and roller coasters were amazing. I mean, Gotham City Escape at Parque Warner Madrid is in my top 3 favorite roller coasters of all time. But one thing that I did not like there was that every single park on that trip did assigned seating. I think my first bad experience with assigned seating was last year when I went to Phantasialand in Germany. Up until that day, I hadn't had any problems in the past at other theme parks with being able to choose my row. Earlier that day, I'd gotten my first ride in the front row on the park's best coaster, Fly. And later in the day, I came back to get my second ride, and I was planning to get it in the back row. When I got up to the station, I was assigned the middle, and since the back row was already taken, I asked if I could wait extra for the back. But to my surprise, the grouper very firmly said no. So then I very reasonably said, I can just wait to the side for an extra 30 seconds, but then the grouper said even firmer, no. At this point, I'm like, okay, I'm not dealing with this lady, she's just being rude, and I tried to let the person behind me in front of me. So I said, you can go in front of me, and maybe it's just a thing in Germany, but this person did not understand the concept of being let in front of someone else in a line. I don't think it was a language barrier thing because I stood to the side and was motioning for him to go in front of me, but this guy just stood there for 10 seconds with a weird look on his face before ultimately ending up going there. While this guy was just standing there with that weird look, the guy behind him kept yelling at me, and I'm like, I didn't do anything, this guy's just not processing it or something. After that guy finally went in front of me, that grouper gave me the biggest death stare ever. After this, I don't remember the exact details, but I do remember that there was a lot of arguing and I didn't end up getting the back. I had a similar experience just a week later after that when I went to Europa Park in Germany. My first ride was Voltron, and I went in the single rider line for my first ride. And just to be clear, in the single rider line, that is common knowledge that you can't really choose where you sit because they just got to fill an open seat. Thankfully, I was assigned the front, and I did get a pretty good first ride. The next day, I came back to get a few more rides on Voltron. But this time, I went in the regular line because you're supposed to be able to choose your own seat in the regular line. When I got up to the station, I was assigned some random middle seat, but I asked if I could have the front. And after I said that, the grouper just blankly stared at me for a few seconds, got out a flashlight, and shined the flashlight on a sign on the wall that said, you cannot choose your seat. After that, I just stared at that sign for a few seconds trying to figure out what my next move would be, and I'm pretty sure after that I just started letting people in front of me, and I can't remember if it worked or not. I don't think it did. Now, I do get that it's a rule, but it's a dumb rule. I mean, that's what this video is about, but I haven't even gotten into how they enforced it, because that was wild. The story that you're about to hear is easily the most ridiculous thing that has happened to me at a theme park. This was insane. I came up to the station ready for another attempt to get the front. I went in the regular line, but of course, they didn't let me wait extra for the front. I argued with the grouper for another 30 seconds or so, and I don't know what that crew was thinking. Maybe it's just because they were so mad that I was going against their dumb little rule, but they shut down the entire ride. Seriously, I'm not even joking. I wish I was joking. I was so shocked. They could have just argued with me off to the side, but they just wanted me to feel bad, so they shut down the entire ride. So I'm like, why did you do that? There was no reason for that. That was stupid. You could have just argued with me off to the side. You're just making it harder for yourselves. That was like the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I don't know why they did that. After another 5 minutes, I think they turned it back on and argued with me on the other side of the platform, like they should have done from the start, and obviously I didn't get the front. For some reason, I went around again and tried one more time in the regular line. I don't know why. I mean, there was pretty much no point. I didn't bring my mom around this time, so there was another witness. This time around, I tried the tactic again of letting people in front of me, and I had almost let just enough people in front of me. I just needed to let one more group in front of me, and then I would have gotten the front. But then, the grouper grabbed me very tightly by the wrist and physically dragged me to the front of the line. What? That would not fly in America. If she was in America and did that to the wrong person, there could have easily been a lawsuit. In all seriousness, I get that it's their rule. We might not agree with it, but I get that it's their rule. Now, enforcing it by dragging someone through the line, that crosses a line. Seriously though, Europa Park, this is why I hate you. This is why I think you're overrated. This is not good for the guest experience. Please, train your employees so they're not going around dragging people. And the reason I say Europa Park is because Voltron wasn't the only coaster there that was doing assigned seating. Every single coaster there was. Now, not to the same extent as Voltron. For example, I wasn't getting dragged around on the Can coaster. Oh, and there's one thing that I forgot with Voltron that makes the story even crazier. After I was dragged to the front of the line, my mom was like, whoa, don't be dragging my kid around here. What's going on? The worker said, your kid stopped the entire ride earlier because he was arguing with us. And I was like, no, that's not what happened. You guys did that all on your own. You could have argued with me to the side. You guys did that all on your own. That was all you. They blamed me for their own mistake, and they were so mad. Just to be clear, if they originally let me wait 30 extra seconds off to the side, none of this would be a problem. That shows how committed they are to their stupid little rule. After they blamed me for their own mistake, they even started taunting me. They would be sending trains out with empty front rows. I would real quick try to run to it, and they'd immediately close the restraints and just do a death stare at me. Seriously, what kind of messed up people are they hiring at Europa Park? We ended up settling for the back row after the grouper said the phrase has been haunting me ever since, you ride in the back or you don't ride at all. I was hoping assigned seating was just a Germany thing because that was the only place that I experienced it, but when I got back home, one of my home parks, Six Flags Magic Mountain, was doing it, and it just gave me PTSD. Now, obviously, the crew wasn't dragging me around because, like I said earlier, that would not fly in America. If you want to know more about my experience with assigned seating at Six Flags Magic Mountain, make sure to check out the video that I made a few months ago about it. And that leads us to my most recent trip to Spain, the one where every single park on that trip was doing assigned seating. There was assigned seating at Tibidabo, Ferrariland, Portaventura, Parque Warner Madrid, and Parque de Atracciones de Madrid. On this trip, I didn't want any Voltron drama, so I usually just went where they said and just was really, mad inside. The only time that I did argue with them a little bit was at Dragon Con at Portaventura. After I was assigned row 2, I argued with the grouper for about 30 more seconds, and then the grouper said something that just triggered me. You go in row 2 or you don't go at all. And the decision I made after that, I still kind of regret. It was very dumb. But I took it seriously, and I actually just exited. I even made a deal to myself that day that I would not go back on Dragon Con because I just did not want to deal with another one of those stupid workers. Just to be clear, though, I did go on it the day before when it was a different crew. I got in the back, which is alright. So I did get on that ride, and it's pretty mid. Now, Portaventura is famously known for not being run that well. I had heard that it was getting better, but it most certainly was not. There was a few other things, specifically what I want to make the next dumb theme park rule video about, which is the GoPro stuff. They would always make it up as I go along. Like, they'd allow it at one ride, and then they wouldn't allow it at another, and I go back around on one ride that they didn't, and then suddenly they don't. So they kind of just made up assigned seating, GoPro, all those rules just as they go along, which is not good. I actually looked at the park rules before going there, and it didn't say anything about assigned seating or GoPro stuff. And it's the same thing for Parque Warner Madrid. So both of those parks kind of just make it up as they go along. Like, there's also no signs about assigned seating in the coaster stations, and Gotham City Escape was also doing assigned seating. Now, usually I was getting actually pretty lucky. Normally the front or the back would be open, so I just real quick run one of those. But I know a lot of people aren't so lucky and just keep getting assigned the middle, and that's just no good. Like, I remember there was this one guy that got assigned the middle, and he was like, can I wait extra for the front, please? And the worker was like, no. So that's just, and he was really sad after. So, like, that's just not a good way to treat your guests. Anyways, that's pretty much it for this video. I definitely want to hear your guys' opinion on assigned seating, and also your opinion on the Voltron story, because I cannot be the only one that thinks that crew was messed up and should be fired. This is part 1 of a 2-part series, where in the next one I'll be talking about secured GoPros, because pretty much no parks allow it, and I think it's so weird. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to give it a like and subscribe, and bye!